welcome everyone to my latest video. What you've just heard there is sounds of a new Max4Live device that I've just bought called Fors Opal Drum Synth. Very powerful, feature-packed device. Comes with 4 percussive drum synth engines and an effects engine, and a very powerful sequencer that many of you will recognise as being very similar to those found in the Electron devices that we've all come to use over the years. That was a quick demonstration of what the device itself does, but what I intend to do today is to move over to the Opal Control device, which is a MIDI version of this and allows you to control other devices within the Ableton environment. So without further ado, let's make a clear project and start from scratch, and I'll show you one of the examples that I would use to make full use of this device. Okay, so I'm going to load a VST plugin from D16. It's the Fors Opal 303 emulator. It's going to load up there, and you'll see that actually it has its own sequencer as well, which we need to disable. So I need to switch that to external to switch that off, and we're now ready to continue. Some housekeeping before we do anything else. We need to map the parameters that we want to use from Fors Opal into the instrument rack that we're about to create below in Ableton. So to do that, I click the parameters device button and configure, and now move the parameters on Fors Opal that I want to be able to have access to, and they'll populate in the list, as you can see there, as configurable parameters. I've done 8 there just to give you a flavour of what you can do. The Opal Control device lets you control a maximum of 10. I've gone for 8 here just to get on with it and show you what I mean. Okay. So we need to create a group on this device. So you right click and choose group. This gives you access to macros. You can see there just by clicking the macro button, it's opened up, and there's 8 available macros. I've chosen to map 8 parameters from Fors Opal, so that's perfect for this case use. Next, what we need to do is to map the parameters we've just unfolded in the Fors Opal 2 and map them to the macros. So cutoff will go to 1, resonance to 2, etc. So to do that, right click cutoff, map to macro 1, resonance, right click macro 2, and so on until we've got all 8 populated and assigned. Very quickly do this, finish it off. You don't have to do this every time. Once you've done this once, you can then save it as a preset, an instrument rack preset, just by clicking this save button that I'm hovering over with my mouse now. Okay, so you can see there we've mapped all the, we know that we've mapped them all because they've all turned green now, the triangles, and when we move each macro, it's moving the parameter, and it's also moving the control within Fors Opal. So we know that's a quick way of checking that you've done it right. I've mapped all of those correctly, and we can now load in the Opal Control device. Mine's installed in third-party packs. So the Opal project, I'll highlight it there, Opal Control, drag that into the instrument rack, and open the editor. And as you can see, it's a cut down version of the full Opal drum synth. It's got the sequencer here and 10 control macros, if you like, within the device itself that we're going to map to the macros in the Ableton instrument rack. So to do that, we click this symbol here, like a star symbol, if you like, and then for the first one we want to map that to the cut-off filter of Fors Opal. So to do that, click it and it's blinking, and just double click the macro within the instrument rack and it'll map over. You'll see there that it's actually changed the name to cutoff as well, which I think is a fantastic little feature. It saves you a load of hassle and messing about. We're going to do that for all the other parameters that we want to map over from the macros. Oops. 4 to decay, 5 to accent, 6 to slide time, 7 sweep amount, and the last one, envelope mod attack. So they're all mapped now. If we move, just again a quick check that we've done it correctly, move the control dial in the Opal control device, we'll see that not only is the macro moving in the instrument rack, the device parameters moving as well, which is exactly what we want. Check that for all of them. Yep, they're all fine, all working as expected. So as I say, you could save that as a preset now and load that up every time for this particular instrument. I'm just going to change the sound. Right, let's create a little simple 16-step sequence in the sequencer. I'm just going to change the root note to something lower down the scale because I'm programming bass lines here. Okay, add a little bit of variation. This is just pure randomization, don't judge me. Right, so in theory now, if we press play on the Ableton sequencer, it'll trigger the Fors Opal Ctl sequencer, which will in turn play notes within for Scion. Right, that's a very basic interpretation of what this sequencer can do. You can see we've got all these other options. For example, probability in its most basic form. You can change that from 0 to 100 of the chance it will play on each pass. We've also then got what we always had on Electron devices, the ability, it's called modulo in this device, the ability to go into a bit more fine-grained detail about that. So this example, I've changed it to 1/4. So what that means is this pattern plays, this note will play the first time that pattern plays and won't play again until it makes a 4th pass. So again, it just gives you a lot more control over what you want to achieve in your sequences. You can change a note on a per step basis. These are all referred to as parameter locks in the Electron world. This is what we mean by when we say parameter locks. And now finally you've got it with this device. More importantly with this control device, so that you can control other VSTs, other instruments, or any other MIDI device connected to Ableton, in this case for Scion. You've got ratchet controls and nudge controls, so you can change where the note is on the grid. What we're going to do now is play back this sequence again, and I'm going to move some of the parameters so you can hear in real time what they sound like. Of course, that's real time. To make use of the sequencer, what we can also do is do that on a parameter lock per step basis. So I'm going to choose the parameter button there on the far left, and you'll see that decay's showing at the moment. If I was to click the cutoff dial, that would change to cutoff. And what gives us that the ability to do now is alter the cutoff setting on a per step basis. So just doing some variations here just to show you that it does sound different depending on the settings used on each step. I'm going to play that. And similar for all the other settings, resonance, all the way up, all the way up. And you can imagine if you've programmed in probabilities and other features there, you can get some real interesting sounds over a period of time as the grid moves. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. Hope you can find a use for this very powerful device, which really excites me. Take care. Bye bye.